exactly what does NextGen do when it comes to Congress and being on Capitol Hill. On Vietnamese Advocacy Day in June, NextGen and Boat People SOS as a collective group, we all go there on Capitol Hill. We talk to our US senators and US House representatives to get them to sponsor the Vietnamese Human Rights Bill, but at the same time, we get them to adopt a prisoner of conscience. And a prisoner of conscience is someone who was arrested in Vietnam for trying to expose the government's human rights violations, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and we're trying to get them out somehow. And we also help them reunite with their families if they're able to come back to the United States or somewhere in Europe if their family is there, or just help them get freed in Vietnam. But typically, we help them immigrate somewhere in Western countries. And at the end of the day, that allows them to improve their health, their well-being. And what's great is that it helps them get their dignity back, helps them get their dignity and respect back, which is very important. And in the long term, with that new dignity and respect, they can continue their works for democracy for Vietnam. The outcome that we're looking for when we're on Capitol Hill, one, it's to get the Vietnamese Human Rights Bill passed, raising awareness for Vietnamese human rights and violations. What's been huge and significant is that we've advocated for the adoptions and the release of many prisoners of conscience and arrested advocates. That's been possible through our awareness and our advocacy to US officials and other people in Western countries. For example, we've had US Congressman Alan Lowenthal just on Friday, that he adopted Vietnamese journalist Nguyen Van Hoa, and US CIRF Commissioner Argava adopted Nguyen Bac Truyen. Also, this is even better. We've gotten several people released. We've helped them immigrate into Western countries, whether that be the United States or somewhere else in Europe. Pastor Adao, and was adopted by US CIRF advocate James W. Carr. And then Thick Quang Do, adopted by US CIRF advocate Christina Arriga. That was only possible through our advocacy and awareness in general, whether that be through BPSOS or NextGen. The movement's getting larger with the youth. We've had more than 1,000 Vietnamese Americans support HR 1383, which was one of the Vietnamese Human Rights Act bills. What I want to emphasize in this speech is not only what we have done, but why you should get involved. I started my advocacy for Vietnamese human rights back when I was a 7th grader, so middle school, and I was maybe 13, maybe 14 years old. And that got me involved in politics. Thanks to Dr. Tang, he really got me involved in politics and got my love into politics, using my voice and my power to change lives. And that's something I want to do for probably the rest of my career and go into law. But this advocacy isn't just about changing lives. It's also about career opportunities. Career opportunities that I've had is I work for a super PAC with the GOP in Oklahoma as political director, and same thing for another US House representative candidate, David Hill. I worked in those positions and I've gained hundreds of connections through that. And it's also expanded my political knowledge significantly. We're changing the world. We're changing the world at the end of the day. And I think that's why you need to get involved. And this is right now, you may see it as a small movement, but it's been a movement years in making. And we need more people to join. And just being on Capitol Hill is just one tiny part of it, but it has a huge impact. So I really hope you can get involved.
One of the projects I worked with NextGen was drafting up a report to the United Nations Rights of the Child Committee to talk about the human rights violation. The short-term goal of the report was that we were able to help the children in Vietnam to voice their concerns about the violation of human rights and tell the world about their suffering of the injustice, including the taxation and propaganda education and the denials of the rights to education, housing, and protection from violence. Our long-term goals, we were able to help assist the children in Vietnam in their quest to demand the government to respect their rights. The outcomes of our report was that the United Nations Committee on the Rights of the Child were able to learn about the countless cases of police attacks and sexual abuse on children, the denial of birth certificates and rights to attend school, and ultimately the failures of the Vietnam government to protect the rights of the country's children. So we first started with the major or well-known cases, such as cases of those major well-known protesters, such as Miss Jet Nga, and we also focused on cases targeting minority children, such as the children residing in the downtown village. And we were also able to meet with the secretariats, and it was a really great experience, even though we had to stay up really late for the meeting. They asked us questions about the report and wanted to know more about the situation. And after our personal meeting with the UNCRC, they brought up the issues we talked about to the whole online session, and that made us feel really heard. So, this whole process has made me a better advocate and leader as I was able to research more in depth about the issues I was fighting for, giving me more understanding and more perspective on the situations. I learned more about writing reports, dividing work among the team, preparing for meetings, public speaking, and as a whole, I'm really grateful for the experience.
Before writing this report, I had only heard about some of these issues relating to children's rights violations in Vietnam very briefly from my mom. But being a part of this report has given me the opportunity to learn more in depth about these cases in Vietnam that I wasn't well informed of before. And at first, I wasn't really confident enough that I would contribute much to the report, especially since this was one of my first big tasks I was given to contribute when I joined NextGen. But I'm satisfied with the outcomes of this whole process. And it has helped me in particular in daily activities I do, such as I'm involved in Model UN at my school, and it helped me become better at researching certain issues that I am looking at, and it has helped me with better at report writing. Overall, I'm really grateful for being able to participate in this whole process.
The NextGen English program has taught over 15 refugees, activists, and children over the course of 9 months. Our long-term goal with this program is to help them improve their profession-related skills and their education, enabling them to improve their livelihood. On average, each student receives 2 hours of online English lessons per week. We teach a wide range of levels from beginner to advanced. Both learn English while covering topics of politics and law. With children, we help them with their homework too, like Fu and Dai, who are Junti as two sons. Their school performance has improved significantly after attending our classes. Overall, we recruit native English speakers to teach English to refugees, activists, and children. We recognize that English is an important asset and skill set for any profession, especially for refugees. Meanwhile, teaching English can provide service hours and volunteer opportunities for youths in America and Europe. As a result, we seek to bring these two groups together and create a program where English-speaking youths can earn service hours by teaching online English classes to the people who need and use English for their jobs and education to continue fighting for human rights. After joining NextGen and teaching English, I have found myself participating more in school and other activities because I am participating something larger than that, like advocating for human rights. During this process of advocating for human rights, I have learned to also advocate for myself. Raising awareness about the importance of human rights is also one of NextGen's goals.
A lot of people don't know about the problems that people are facing in Vietnam, and it's our job to help people become educated about those issues, and we've gained 300 followers on our Instagram account. Each week we meet on Zoom and discuss important and current events and subjects we would like to cover and assign those posts to producers. Before posting, others check and edit the posts to make sure they look good and correct whatever might be wrong. And we are hoping to reach 450 followers by next year by making posts more dynamic and adding multiple forms of media, such as videos onto our pages. For me, being on the social media team has taught me to work well with graphic design, but more importantly, in the effort to educate others, I am learning multitudes about Vietnam myself.
So I will be talking about how we train our youth advocates, how we train our members to become, I call them just warriors, because they are brave to do something different. So the impact that I was looking for, each of them to be a leader, to manage a team, to communicate with the team members, to stick to the mission of the organization. So our mission is to protect human rights and promote human rights. And therefore, everything we do must focus on that mission. For example, in the social media page, we don't post a lot about the culture part or about what is hot, what is news. In Vietnam, we just focus on the human rights aspect, the violation. Specifically for the short term, delegate their projects to other people around them. And the long-term goal is to increase their performance and increase their output. So how can they get the work done quicker, more efficient? The thing look nicer, the report look better, the email to the reps or senators are neat and nice. And this can help them to get a good job or a job promotion. The outcome that we have done is that 4 of us get an internship with Senator Einhoff from Oklahoma, and 2 went to met the UN Secretariat during a meeting that Gian have talked about. Meanwhile, 4 of them had speak at the Vietnam online webinar day in front of 1,000 people. Well, what they have done that I am most proud of is that they highlighted the issue in the lack of human rights, and they present a solution.
It's always been our mission to facilitate a community of young leaders. While there are numerous definitions of leadership, NextGen's definition has always been someone or some people who can get us from point A to point B. Although we've completed many objectives this year, we never want to stay rooted in one goal. We always want to keep moving forward so that if we're at point B, then we can aim for point C and then point D and etc. 2021 is especially an important year for us because NextGen will be initiating a very impactful and just influential project. It'll be one of the most interactive and global projects that we've ever considered executing. So essentially, we'll be organizing and planning a field trip to Saigon, otherwise known as Ho Chi Minh City, for about 9 Hmong Christian students at Subdivision 179 in the summer of 2021. Now, who are these Hmong Christians? Well, these are Vietnamese people who have been persecuted by the government for their religious faith. There are approximately 300,000 undocumented Hmong Christians out of about 4 million Hmong individuals all spread out in Vietnam and neighboring countries. These Hmong Christians have been isolated and basically sheltered by their villages for years and years. They have little to none experience outside of their homes. And so that's why this project is extremely fundamental and extremely necessary. And it's why NextGen wants to fund and support this mission. Through the guidance and assistance of various mentors and the collaborative work of many NextGen members, we'll be focusing on raising funds to cover the expenses of the trip, as well as training these Hmong students to communicate fluently in English so that they can have fruitful discussions with foreigners and establish cherished relationships along the way. This whole operation's purpose is to inspire these Hmong Christians to dream big and believe that their aspirations are not miles and miles away, but rather just right around the corner. And this project is meant to equip them with experience, insight, and inspiration. With this project, our intention is also to expand our outreach, predominantly through social media, but we'll also be participating in more partnerships so that NextGen can not only promote our plans, but that we have more allies on our side as well. We're currently looking into multiple other organizations and groups that would be interested in a team effort to accomplish goals on both ends. We'll continue to expand our social media with more multimedia content, to expand our English program through more recruits, and to draft more UN reports. Through this expansion, we'll also be aiming for a flagship project which will differentiate us from other NGOs. The intent for this project is to find a civil community in Vietnam or other Vietnamese groups around the world and invite them to a global human rights webinar. This is our way of not only interacting with other Vietnamese groups, but it's also a way for all of us to come together for a communal intellectual discussion where we can create new ideas and build upon old ones. It's a beneficial way of using the numbers to our advantage. In conclusion, we have a very exciting and invigorating year ahead of us. It'll be the most active and involved we've all ever been. But like I stated in the beginning, this year has been a success, but it's just one success. It's just one footprint in the snow. We still have the ability to imprint more footsteps because the road of advocacy is a long and bumpy ride. We have so much more that we can and need to accomplish, and we're excited for what lies ahead of NextGen. Aside from leadership and projects, NextGen will always be working to inform others on the situations and circumstances occurring in Vietnam. We couldn't have gotten where we are this year had it not been for the work of many people in this webinar right now. We're incredibly grateful for everyone that's helped us, supported us, and we're grateful for the future of NextGen. Thank you so much.
You know, to the NextGen members, you are actually an inspiration to us as parents. You know, I can see NextGen members, as young as you are, from 13 to 19, you really opened your heart and minds to feel and to hear and to listen to the suffering of others. That's very important. You know, don't be surprised. You are teaching us older parents, you know, how to work together, how to adapt to situation, how to use the technologies that are available to you and to us right now to promote what are you doing. And I think more importantly, you know, what I feel is no matter how old or how young you are right now, NextGen members, you can. And I really think that you are making a difference in this world right now. And so just my applause, my, you know, really feel, you know, for your works and how you come about and how, you know, of course, there will be a lot of challenging in front of you, but don't be discouraged. You are making a big difference in our lives and in the world. Thank you.